Hey there everybody, for those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Kayla. I have an 8-year-old son with autism named Shane. I created this space so I can share my resources and experiences and hopefully improve the lives of some families living with autism. So today I'm going to answer the question, does autism go away? Or do kids grow out of autism? I've read this question and actually been asked that before, and I've actually had people tell me, oh, I think your son Shane is growing out of his autism. The short and easy answer to that question is no. Autism does not go away. Specifically for us, autism has not gone away. It's only shown itself more in Shane over the years since his diagnosis. Autism is a developmental disorder with no cure. That's one of the first things the doctors and professionals told me when he was diagnosed. However, there are some exceptions, for lack of a better word, to that, and that is why that question is so heavily asked, and people are constantly wondering and hoping that their child is going to grow out of autism. For me and Shane specifically, his autism, like I said, is not going away. He is autistic and he carries many of the traits, and he works every day to manage many of the symptoms. He goes to a school for special needs children, and it is a perfect fit for him because they understand his autism. Some things have gotten easier for him, and he has been able to manage his autism better over the years. But I use the word manage very strongly because that doesn't mean any of his symptoms have gone away. Many people who have been diagnosed with autism present differently. Their traits are different, their symptoms are different. Some are a lot less than others. So if a child is diagnosed very early with autism and they get the right treatments and their symptoms are very light, they may very well later in life, if they test it again, come out negative, like they don't have autism. That doesn't mean that they necessarily grew out of it. Maybe they were even misdiagnosed if they were diagnosed too early. It just means they might be managing their symptoms a little bit better now, and they're not presenting as much, so they're no longer considered autistic. That is a very small percentage of people. The majority of people diagnosed with autism, especially if they're diagnosed at the right age, between 2 and 5 years old, those people will probably always have their autism and always have an autism diagnosis, like my son Shane will. But that doesn't mean that they're not learning to manage their symptoms and to cope with everyday life in a better way, and therefore they may not seem as autistic. And I say that because me and Shane have actually been through that. People say to me, oh, I told you he was going to grow out of his autism, or I told you he wasn't autistic, he was just a little bit delayed. And they don't realize that Shane is working every single day extremely hard to manage his autism symptoms, and his team at school, as well as myself, are working all the time to help him work and to be better and to talk more and to socialize more and to manage his emotions more. They just think he's doing better and he's going to keep doing better, and one day it's just going to disappear. As a parent of a child with autism, I know that's not the truth, and I think that that's important that people realize that no, autism doesn't go away, especially when it's been properly diagnosed, that rather these amazing individuals with autism are learning how to manage their symptoms, and that is why they no longer seem so autistic. Let's not take away from the fact that they are working every day in this world that doesn't really understand them to try and fit in more, or to be more social, or to understand why things work in a way that they don't really understand. Yes, thankfully children can, and adults also can, grow out of their diagnosis sometimes and manage their symptoms, but that doesn't mean that they have gone away just because they're managing it. There are actually some autistic traits that my son used to do all the time, and he does either very little or not at all anymore. For example, jumping up and down and humming when he was upset or overly excited. It's really rare he does that now. Lining up his toys, he used to only play that way, and now it's really rare also that I see him do that. Hand flapping is another one. When he was really young, he used to do hand flapping. Biting, he used to bite all the time before he could communicate very much because he was upset and he didn't know how to tell us that. Now, thank God, he doesn't do that. I'm not trying to say that kids cannot grow out of some of their autism traits or autism symptoms. What I'm saying is that autism is a spectrum disorder, meaning every person on that spectrum is going to present differently at different points in their lives. Over the years, I've met many individuals with autism, young and old, all of them extremely different. Some of them have many symptoms, and others have just a few symptoms. Some have learned over the years to manage those symptoms so well that you might not even know that they were ever diagnosed with autism. I believe that sometimes autism is definitely misdiagnosed or diagnosed too early, and therefore later in life it may appear that that person no longer has autism, but I strongly believe that when you are properly diagnosed with autism, it is forever. And because you manage those symptoms does not mean you've grown out of them. So those are my thoughts on whether or not autism goes away. To any of you parents who are still hoping your child is going to grow out of their autism, I wish you all the best. For me and Shane, I'm pretty sure autism is here to stay, and our path is going to be managing his symptoms to help him reach his truest potential, whatever that might be. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I post videos every Wednesday and Sunday, so hit the subscribe button to find out what's coming up next.